Hudson Media Group studio. This is Talking Politics, and I am New Jersey's premier and now 7-time award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine, and certainly the Garden State's most beloved and factually accurate conservative. Yes, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Hoping you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving week, folks, and just in advance, I hope you're all having just a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends and family. I'm thankful to all of you, my loyal viewing audience that continues to make this show popular and worth watching, and certainly to the great production staff here and the ownership at Hudson Media Group. I'm thankful for them for all their due diligence and hard work and patience in terms of working with me and filming this show. And of course, folks, enjoy it with family. Again, after the last 2.5 years with COVID, we've lost some family members and friends, but hey, listen, it's important to celebrate now, spend it with friends and family, eat that turkey, drink that wine, enjoy the World Cup, enjoy the NFL on Thanksgiving Day, and of course, be careful if you are going out for Black Friday and shopping. We all know how hectic it can be, as we've seen on YouTube throughout the years. But of course, folks, there's always a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very thankful coming up this week during Thanksgiving for having family around me, my friends, my inner circle, again, to all of you that keep this show going through the Hudson Media Group. But the holidays aren't always a happy one for a lot of families locally. And it's a story that really caught my eye from the Jersey City Times, and a shout out to Ron Lear for his exceptional reporting on this. And it just breaks your heart when you read about it. And I want to share some details with you because it really sort of gets to the heart of something that really, really still burns at me when it comes to, criminal justice, substance abuse, and of course, law enforcement collectively. So a grieving family is mourning the loss of their daughter, apparently due to drug use, and they're still upset over what they consider to be a law enforcement lapse in failing to prosecute the individual they blame for their daughter's drug habit. But the police agency in question, which is the Jersey City Police Department, while they empathize with the family, they claim that no evidence was found linking the suspected drug purveyor to the young woman's death. The unfortunate outcome is all the more tragic since, according to her ethnic Algerian parents, Fadila and Michael Manor Bacha collectively, their daughter Latifa was an exceptional model citizen before her untimely death due to narcotics in June of 2021 in Jersey City. Now, they are practicing Muslims, Fadila and Michael, and they're members of the Al-Tawhid Islamic Center in Jersey City. Now, Kamel Hadoush, who manages the center, said that parents are suffering day to day, and they visit their daughter's grave at least twice a week. They are looking for some justice, and they feel they didn't get the truth about the case. Now, Michael Bacha is a retired elevator technician and described his daughter as a quiet person who was too trusting of casual acquaintances and not strong enough to resist unscrupulous people who were looking to take advantage of her. Her vulnerability to these outside influences ultimately overtook her, and her serious approach to academia and, of course, the workplace, as she was a hard worker and certainly a model student. After the family settled in Kearney, Latifa attended Washington Elementary School and graduated with honors from Kearney High School, a very, very good urban high school, folks, here in northern New Jersey. Later, Latifa enrolled at Hudson County Community College in hopes of gaining a degree in criminal justice while working part-time as an assistant for a private therapist in Harrison, according to her father's recollections. But that all began to fall apart, ladies and gentlemen, in September of 2019 when she met one guy from Jersey City, what a surprise, who showed her how to use some bad substances which destroyed her health, her morals, and ultimately led to her death. At the same time, he said she stopped going to college and cashed out her tuition money to pay for her awful drug habit. Meanwhile, he added the same Jersey City man that persuaded her to shoplift or, for example, have sex just to be able to pay for drugs until her energy was drained and she was always feeling ill. It's a tragic circumstance, folks. Bacha also suspected his daughter was being beaten. She would sometimes come back with bruises on her arms, feet, or even on her neck. Latifa entered a drug rehabilitation program, but it didn't work, according to her father. The disturbing chain of events continued until her father mentioned until June the 30th of 2021, when Kearney police came to his home to tell him and his wife that Latifa had been found dead in a Jersey City hotel. Well, Michael Baca remains convinced that the Jersey City man was with his daughter at the hotel at the time, and even though Latifa wasn't feeling good and was vomiting, he left her and never called for medical assistance. He says he and his wife cannot understand why the man was never criminally charged in connection with Latifa's death. He says they will persist to find out the cause of their daughter's death. Now, an autopsy determined that Latifa's death was partially caused by drugs, but was accidental in nature, according to a source familiar with the situation who requested anonymity. And the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, when asked about the incident, released the following statement, quote, "We again wish to express our condolences to the family impacted by this tragic and untimely death. The Hudson County Prosecutor's Office and the Jersey City Police Department fully investigated this matter and found insufficient evidence that would support any criminal charges." Folks, I'm not buying it. And I think we all know that the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office certainly can have a bad blemish on their name, and so can the Jersey City Police Department. But let me make it very clear to you. I don't want anybody to get this twisted. Okay? I'm probably the only journalist in New Jersey media that supports the police unequivocally. Okay? I back the blue. You know, I'm all about Blue Lives Matter, and I support our brave men and women in uniform. Okay? That put their lives on the line for pay that really isn't comparable to some of the dangers that they're facing each and every day. Yes, the cop working in Paramus and Ridgewood, New Jersey clearly don't have it anywhere as difficult a job as a cop on the south side of Jersey City or in dumps like Newark, Plainfield, not East Rutherford, but, probably like, New Brunswick, maybe even parts of East Brunswick, Trenton and Camden and even Atlantic City collectively. Okay? But, would it be a surprise to anyone if the Hudson County Prosecutor dropped the ball on this? Would it be a surprise to anyone if the Jersey City Police Department dropped the ball on this? Of course not. I think we've all seen blemishes on their records in recent years. Obviously, us in the media have been calling into question some of their practices and the way that they've gone about investigations. Now, again, I have some friends in both agencies, so I don't want to defecate on them completely. But one of the things that just broke my heart about this story is that, it's easy to sort of overlook this and say, well, it's just another drug overdose. Well, again, folks, I don't know the man's identity, but, you would think if you are messing around with drugs and you are messing around in a hotel room in Jersey City, which by and large, folks, I sincerely doubt if you're messing around with drugs, you're not at the Marriott or the DoubleTree in downtown Jersey City. You're probably at one of those very seedy hotels, either near the Holland Tunnel or wherever else, maybe on Tunnelly Avenue collectively. So it's probably not the best area to be in. So, again, folks, my heart goes out to Mr. and Mrs. Baca. Certainly this is going to be a tough holiday for them once again, with their daughter passing away in June of 2021. So it'll be their second Thanksgiving that they won't have their amazing daughter around. And it's tragic because it probably could have been prevented. And we all know that substance abuse continues to be a serious problem in the United States, and there's no question about that. As I said, again, I know plenty of friends of mine that I've lost because of substance abuse. Alcohol, drugs, even gambling has a very detrimental effect on people's psyche and their families. But more so when you're being involved with bad influences, and that's what happened here to Latifah. Again, my heart goes out to you, Latifah. May you just get that peace in death that it seemed that you didn't get during the last parts of your life. So, again, my heart goes out to that family. But I think, if I were a father, I'd keep insisting. It's one of those things. Again, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist because we've all been guilty of watching TV shows, right? And binge watching detective shows and detective dramas, whether it's, Law and Order Special Victims Unit or Without a Trace or Cold Case, or take your pick, all right? We all get very emboldened and think that sometimes, cases aren't always black and white or open and shut. And maybe sometimes their clues will appear mysteriously. But it seems if you're in a seedy hotel with a young woman and you're messing around with drugs and she's vomiting, it probably isn't due to something she ate for dinner. So I would argue that guy probably had a responsibility and a moral responsibility, even more so, to call the police and to let her die. I can't imagine what the last moments of her life was, and the fact that this guy got off scot-clean. Again, you're in a seedy hotel room with drugs. You're not providing drugs for this young woman? I don't know, folks. I don't want to take shots once again at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office of the Jersey Police Departments. There are great detectives that work there. Again, let me be very clear. I'm not trying to smear anybody there, but this just sounds like a case that could have been worked on just a little bit harder, and we probably could have gotten some justice for Latifah. It breaks my heart to hear that her parents may never see justice. But you know what? I'm hoping that they do. And I'm hoping that if her father insists and people in the community make enough noise, maybe the Jersey Police Department and maybe the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office may actually reopen the case and may actually see some justice after all. Again, and during the holiday season, that's all we can ask for. Justice for everybody. Justice for those that we've lost because of substance abuse. And hopefully for anyone that is suffering through substance abuse, or you have a family member or friend, folks, it's the holiday season. Make sure you spend another holiday with them and get them the help that they need. Yes, in this case, clearly her parents tried. They were not successful, and there are way too many cases like Latifah that we hear about and read about every single year, which really, really makes the holidays a little more difficult for some more than others. So, again, my heart goes out to the Baca family and to Latifah, obviously. I hope that you get justice somehow, and the person responsible for your unnecessary death sees a courtroom and ultimately sees justice behind a jail cell. I can always hope and pray, folks, but that's what the holidays are for, to believe and to hope and to really, think about maybe the best case scenario. And I'm hoping that will happen here. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, some local stories for your consideration. And a special thank you to the Dean of Hudson County Journalism, my good friend Al Sullivan, via Tap Into Jersey City for his exceptional reporting on this story. Now, it seems that protesters are opposing the proposed expansion to the new Jersey Turnpike heading into Jersey City, and they held a rally last week at the Mary Benson Park to denounce the $4.7 billion project. Now, here's some details, which makes the story even more interesting. Now, political and environmental groups, including Bike JC, Bike Hoboken, Safe Streets JC, and Bike North Bergen, along with Friends of Liberty State Park, claim the expansion of the highway will only make traffic worse and infringe on the quality of life for residents living along the roadway that runs across the Newark Bay to the approaches of the Holland Tunnel. Now, the Jersey City Councilman James Solomon, who represents Ward E in downtown, was among the local and county elected officials on hand to demand that the Jersey Turnpike Authority cancel plans to widen the Turnpike extension. Solomon went on to say, quote, "This is one of the worst ideas in Hudson County in recent memory. We have to do everything in our power to oppose it." He mentioned that there were a number of reasons to do that, including personal ones. "You see, here's my daughter, Noelle. She is here because that will be her elementary school, as it is my oldest daughter's school. That is her playground, as it is my other daughter's playground. And expanding the turnpike to literally hang over that playground and that school is a terrible idea. It will make the air she breathes worse, and study after study shows it will make the education she gets even worse." Now, Councilman Solomon went on to claim that the proposed project isn't an effort to make Jersey City a better place, but it's based instead on politics. "My message is simple. If anyone wants to be a leader of the state or a leader of our country, you cannot fight for projects that make climate change worse. You can't do it. It is not 1980, it's not 1990, it's not even 2000. It's 2022, and we've seen the effects of climate change." We'll see, Councilman. More on that later, though. The negative impact, Solomon concluded, will be felt across Jersey City as the turnpike extension extends from Greenville to the waterfront. And by expanding it, by taking people's homes using eminent domain, by polluting thin air, and thousands of people's lives in Jersey City, ultimately it's going to get worse. Every single person who cares about Jersey City has a stake in stopping this project. Now, the proposed project does indeed have its supporters, including Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis, who has said that the widening of the bridge and the roadway is a public safety issue. Their city is a peninsula, which he's right about. Davis noted, and the narrow bridge and roadway leading into the Bayonne interchange has often resulted in massive backups and the inability of local residents, as well as emergency vehicles, to get in and out of the city in a timely manner. More on the story by Al Sullivan in a moment, but the mayor's right there. Okay, folks, if you've ever taken the turnpike, now again, when I go home, I take exit 16E, so I avoid that entire whole interchange, right? 14A, 14B, 14C, right? If you're going to the Holland Tunnel, you'll take 14C. If you're going to maybe the downtown part of, Jersey City, you take 14B, right off of Columbus Drive. And if you want to get, obviously, into Bayonne, you take 14A, right? Like 14A, stay away, right? Bayonne. Well, the reality is, folks, that, yes, that gets really, really congested. So when you're leaving Newark Airport and you unfortunately have to take that interchange, it is hellacious, okay? And it's hellacious for those people living in that really densely populated area. I understand the councilman's concerns, but James, I mean, again, the sums of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And when we're looking at traffic, we're looking at, again, emergency vehicles being able to navigate their way around without being impeded upon. I mean, these are big issues here, okay? And more people are moving into this area. It's a cosmopolitan area. It's a very, bougie area where you want to be near Manhattan. Yes, it's very expensive to live in, and of course that's due to, progressive Democrats in Trenton that, love every tax they've ever come across. But the reality is, though, that, again, when we talk about something like Bayonne or that part of Jersey City, it is essential. And I think that's where Solomon, I think, is kind of losing the mark here. But again, let me continue here with the great article by Al Sullivan. Now, the backups also cause unnecessary pollution to spill into Bayonne neighborhoods. Advocates for the project say. Now, the expansion would also help relieve some congestion, resulting in traffic going to and from the container port operations on the Bayonne and Jersey City border, right? Everyone loves to get their things delivered by Amazon, right? Well, guess what? Amazon needs to dock somewhere when they're transporting goods and services. And again, we need some alleviation there in those harbors, right? Now, pointing to his belief that the average driver's mode of transportation will be changing in the coming years, right? Governor Phil Murphy, what a surprise. The emperor has also voiced his support for the project that says that this expansion, when it comes to conclusion, will allow cars that will be increasingly make more electric cars available. It'll be a dramatic increase even between beginning construction and concluding construction. Mind you, it will take 5 or 10 years, or at least a generation from now, from what it's looking like. Well, again, listen, folks, you can always rely on the emperor, right, Governor Murphy, to always, virtue signal and talk about electric cars and everything else because of climate change. Folks, here's a reality, and I think this is where Councilman Solomon and the emperor get it wrong, okay? Yes, I understand you want to push for more electric vehicles because of climate change, blah, blah, blah. Folks, here's the reality, okay? We need oil to heat our homes and to fuel our cars. So for commerce, right, never mind diesel fuel, which we're running out of, right, because, God forbid, the leadership in the White House right now would try to find, more methods of getting diesel fuel, right, especially during the holiday shopping season. But the reality is, folks, that electric cars are just not viable right now, and they may never be. They're expensive. And it's funny when you hear progressives like James Solomon and, the Emperor Phil Murphy and other progressives in Trenton talking about, well, we need electric cars. We need to get away from fossil fuels. Well, this is the reality, folks. Electric cars are still not very affordable. And when we think about the base of the Democratic Party, it's poor black and brown people, and even poor white people too. Okay? Anybody ever check out what the MSRP, the manufactured retail price on a electric car is right now? Yeah, folks, it's roughly around $30,000. And no offense for black and brown people and even poor white people, yeah, you know what? You kind of need good credit to be able to get a vehicle like that, and you might have to finance it. And for a lot of people, again, that are working class, your credit may not be very good. And if your credit's not very good, how can you get a vehicle? You might have to rely on a used vehicle or lease a regular gas-powered vehicle, which tends to be a little more affordable, right? Whether it's a Jeep, Ford, or Chevrolet, yeah, you're looking at cars in the 21, 22, maybe 23,000 range, not 30,000, which tends to be the average right now for electric vehicles. So again, leave it to the governor to never miss an opportunity to virtue signal and try to push that climate hysteria on everybody. And to some extent, I'm not saying James Solomon is as guilty as Governor Murphy, but he likes to virtue signal too about climate change. And, again, James, the earth goes through these cycles, okay? It's funny, Democrats, especially progressives, love to talk about believing in science. Well, you don't always believe in science because there's only 2 genders, and that's what biology teaches us, okay? But again, you want to believe in science when it suits you. Same thing here, folks, when it comes to believing in climatology. Now, I don't claim to be a climatologist, okay? But the idea that we're going to be underwater anytime soon and that Aquaman's going to be delivering our mail because that's what we're going to be relegated to, that's just not true, okay? So stop with the climate hysteria. Should we worry about Mother Nature? Yes, but folks, here's a newsflash. The planet is getting more and more populated, okay? Even despite COVID and the massive millions of deaths that we saw during COVID, folks, the planet's still heavily populated. Okay, and countries like India, which are going to be, for example, the most populated country probably in the world within the next 5 years, as well as China and everywhere else, they're polluting the planet just as much as we are, if not worse. But, you don't hear Democrats on the left and progressives and all these woke and climate hysterics, calling them into accountability. It always seems to fall on us here in the United States. But again, that's a topic for another day. But folks, this expansion is necessary, and I get what Councilman Solomon is trying to object to, and again, some in Trenton or some of these activist groups. But folks, again, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And when we talk about backups, traffic delays, allowing people to get to and from work, allowing the transportation of commerce and goods and services, the more roads, the better. It's simple math. It's simple science. And again, when we talk about science, it's funny where those on the left want to believe in science and when they don't. And that's a more lighthearted story, and a special thank you to the Hudson Reporter for their work on this specific issue. But the board of directors at Hudson County Community College and their foundation is inviting the community to join the silver anniversary celebration of their annual gala fundraiser. Coming up on December the 8th, it'll be held at the college's Culinary Conference Center, which is located at 161 Newkirk Street in the Journal Square area of Jersey City, beginning at 6 p.m. Now, guests that evening will tour the award-winning Hudson County Community College Culinary Arts Institute, the CAI, their kitchens, and enjoy world-class cuisine prepared and presented by the HCCC CAI students, alumnus, and chef instructors, and will view a sampling of over the 2,000 original works from the HCCC Foundation Art Collection. Now, the event theme is titled Investing in Student Success, and it spotlights HCCC's foundation's dedication to assisting students in achieving academic success by developing and awarding need-based and merit scholarships, providing seed money for faculty programs, and supporting the college's physical growth and the cultural enrichment of Hudson County residents collectively. Since its founding, the foundation has raised more than $4.2 million in scholarship. Now, at this year's gala, the HCCC Foundation will recognize Aleutian Foundation's endowment investment in the college's innovative and award-winning Hudson Scholars Program and the award of the $25,000 in the Aleutian Path Scholarships to Hudson County Community College students. Laura Ibsen, the Aleutian president and chief executive officer, will accept the honor collectively there. Now, in addition to enjoying the delicious cuisine prepared and served by the HCCC Culinary Arts Institute and their students, again, folks, gala guests will be treated to fare really specially prepared and excellent cuisines and dishes that will be served by the HCCC alumni culinarians in the alumni room, respectively. Now, cocktails will be served in the HCCC Seafood Bar and Lounge, which will feature the spectacular ice sculptures and carvings of Chef Kevin O'Malley. Now, attendees will choose from an array of scrumptious desserts, including an experience in the Paul Dillon Ice Cream Parlor, an homage to the late beloved chef, mentor, and CAI Associate Dean from the college. Now, Dean Dillon served at HCCC with distinction for more than 37 years, and desserts in the program will take place in the elegant Sansone Dining Room. Folks, I can't say enough. Mark it on your calendars for December the 8th. It's well worth attending. A shout out to Hudson County Community College, its leadership, Dr. Chris Uribe, and certainly everyone there at the college collectively, and especially at the Culinary Arts Institute. I can tell you, I've gone to events there, and the students, the alumnus, the chefs working there are so talented. Believe me, unbuckle that belt, because trust me, you're going to need to when you leave there. It's a great event, and again, I can't say enough about the staff and the students that work so hard to make delicious food for everyone in attendance. So again, folks, mark it on your calendars for December the 8th at Hudson County Community College at the Culinary Conference Center. Believe me, your stomach will thank me later. Lastly, I want to cover a story that really resonates with me, and a shout out once again to the Hudson Reporter and Jordan Call, one of the staff writers there, for his exceptional reporting on this story. Now, Liberty State Park Friends will be fighting against a commercial air tour agreement that seems to be materializing. Now, Jersey residents and activists collectively are fighting against a newly proposed agreement by the National Park Service and the Federal Aviation Administration. It's unconscionable that helicopters and the noise barrage will be directly over and immediately adjacent to the park, and will destroy the public's peaceful use of this heavily used park, according to Sam Pessin, the president of Friends of Liberty, in a letter criticizing the National Park Service and the Federal Aviation Administration. Now, Friends of Jersey City's crown jewel, Liberty State Park, may have to fight against a measure on behalf of the park's quality of life for residents and visitors alike. As published last week at the Hudson Reporter, a federal draft plan by the MPS, the FAA, and tour operators will set an aerial limit of 1,000 feet around the Statue of Liberty and Governor's Island. Now, Friends of Liberty Park, the NYC-based Stop the Chop, and many other LSP activists have rallied against the newly drafted plan, saying, quote, "Routing helicopters for tourists over our urban oasis Liberty State Park is unacceptable," according to newly elected Representative Robert Menendez, who is now the member of the House in CD8 here in Hudson County. The proposed plan would also require tourists to fly within a mile of the parks in a clockwise direction, as stated in the draft. Folks, this is unacceptable. And I'm glad that, again, Mr. Cole, with the Hudson Reporter and all of these activists, and believe me, folks, I'm never one to really be on the side of some of these insufferable activists in Jersey City and Hudson County. They tend to be pretty annoying and insufferable, and they just live to bitch and moan. But this is a cause definitely worth bitching and moaning for. Again, folks, when we go to parks, or when we're down along Port Imperial Boulevard or River Road, and we're seeing helicopter after helicopter after helicopter. I get it, folks. it's the most beautiful skyline, not just here in the United States, but in the world. And I get it, you want to be in a helicopter. But folks, we need to limit this. It's disturbing for residents. It's disturbing for the elderly. It's disturbing for children. It's noise that makes our pets uncomfortable. I don't know about you folks. I get it. Wherever there's a chance to make a buck, companies will always look at our skyline to maximize it. But this is a plan, folks, quite frankly. And again, and I applaud the representative-elect, Robert Menendez, here in CD8 for wanting to stand up against some of these companies that are doing this and to stand up against the FAA, okay, that somehow is in cahoots with the National Park Service and thinks somehow that this is a good idea. It's not. So, folks, make some noise, take to social media, stop this. And again, I'm the last one to ever virtue signal on this show, folks. I very rarely do it, if ever. But if there's ever a cause that I feel strongly about, it's this one. So you know what? Let's stop the chop. Let's stop all these helicopters from flying over Liberty State Park, Governor's Island, and quite frankly, let's stop them from flying over this area altogether. And that's our show for this week. Once again, to check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the Hudson Media Group, check out their websites, www.hmgtvshows.com and www.livestream.com/hmgtv. Make it a point to visit the Hudson Media Group YouTube page, and of course, make sure you like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter and Instagram. Check out my own Instagram and Twitter, folks, at the same handle, at the Fernando Zone, and also make sure you follow me on Facebook as well, in addition to Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe on Facebook and also on Instagram. New episodes of the 7-time award-winning podcast, Talking the Hudson, folks, will resume in December via www.blogtalkradio.com/Talking the Hudson. We'll have great guests to close out 2022, and certainly we'll start off 2023 with just as many compelling guests as we did this year. Always remember, folks, it's something I'm very, very proud of here, but I'm proud to be a journalist that you can rely on. And during this Thanksgiving week, I want to take this opportunity, not just only to thank Pat O'Melia, the CEO of the Hudson Media Group, for his continued belief in my abilities and in this show, but for the outstanding production staff here that are very patient with me during recording, with all the takes and everything else. I'm very thankful for their patience, and more importantly, for all of their hard work and the excellent production that you get when you look at episodes every single week at the aforementioned sites. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank all of you for continuing to support this program. And despite all the local social justice clowns and woke fools and, climate hysterics, you haven't canceled me yet, and you're not going to. So I'm thankful to all of you that keep this show going. Always remember, folks, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am New Jersey's premier and now 7-time award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine, and certainly the Garden State's most beloved and factually accurate Hispanic conservative. Yes, it's me, Fernando Uribe, saying, folks, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy the NFL. Eat that turkey. Drink that wine. Please party responsibly with family and friends. And I'll see you next time here with the Hudson Media Group. And as always, thank you so much for watching.